Mary Mac Bakehouse will be at Oakmont Olive Oil Company in Oakmont, Pennsylvania, Saturday, February 17th. Check out our social media for more information.
Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Mary Mac. Well, it's February again. We just got through Groundhog Day on to Valentine's Day. So we thought we'd give you a nice recipe for Valentine's Day that would be a nice treat for your Valentine or yourself, or something that you could put together and give to your friends or coworkers or whatever. And that is the classic Cherry Kiss cookie. If you are unfamiliar with this cookie, it's been around for a long time, but I honestly have never seen it outside of my own family. My cousin found this recipe about probably 35 years ago. At that time, we made them for a wedding shower, and what we did was we had, you know how the cookie table is so popular in Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio. So what we did was we made a variety of cookies, and we had them on decorative stands on the tables for this wedding shower, just for something, cute to do. So it came out really nice, but she found these cookies, and I really like them. They were very unique, and they're also pretty. They are a kiss cookie, like the peanut butter cookies that you poke a little Hershey Kiss into the middle. Well, these are a shortbread cookie with chopped up maraschino cherries in them. They're very light pink, and they have little red bits in them, and then you put the Hershey Kiss in there, and they're very appealing. They're very pretty, and they are so good. I really like them. The cookie isn't enormous, and they generally don't break off. That's the thing that gets me with the peanut butter kiss cookies. I'm sorry, but sometimes you pick up one of those babies in the cookie's history. It just plunks right off, or you try to bite it and it all collapses and everything. These cookies are perfect, I'm telling you. You'll love them. I am not a huge maraschino cherry fan. However, in this, they're good. They're very good. The whole cookie itself kind of reminds you of the cordial cherry candy where you have a chocolate-covered cherry, so it has that sort of a thing. But they're a little bit fancier. They look nice. They'd be great for a wedding because, you want your wedding table cookies to be a little bit on the fancy side, and these are really cute. So we'll have pictures up on our social media so you can see them. And if you subscribe to our blog at Mary Mac Bakehouse, you'll get the recipe, pictures of the steps and the cookies, and a little recipe card there too. So sign up for our blog on our website, marymacbakehouse.com, and then you'll have all of our recipes. Okay, so here we go. You will need 1 cup of powdered sugar. You don't have to sift this because it's going in with your cookie dough. So 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 cup of butter softened, 2 teaspoons of maraschino cherry juice, which there's a lot in the jar, so you don't have to worry, lots in there. And you'll need a 1/2 teaspoon of either vanilla or almond extract. I am not a huge almond extract fan, so I used vanilla. If you like almond, use that. It's also very good. I just prefer vanilla. Next, you'll need 2 1/4 cup of flour, all-purpose flour, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then you will need a 1/2 cup of chopped maraschino cherries. And you want to drain the juice off of them. The way you measure these is you will take, I don't know, I think I counted them last night. I had about 20 of them I took out of the jar. And then I just chopped them up and just started putting the chopped up cherries into a 1/2 cup measure. And just to get, to make sure it was measured correctly. If you do it that way, you don't have excess chopped cherries. So that's kind of a nice way to do it. So there's that. And then you'll need 48 to 50 unwrapped Hershey Kisses. Try not to eat a lot of them, because you don't want to run out, okay? That's the most dangerous part of this whole process, is unwrapping the Hershey Kisses. They disappear. It's amazing. You'll also need 2 half-sheet cookie sheets and parchment paper on top of those. You want to bake these on parchment paper. So here we go. Measure 1 cup of powdered sugar. Mix that with your 1 cup of softened butter, cherry juice, and either the vanilla or the almond extract. Mix that very well. Measure your flour and your salt into another bowl and mix those together, and then add that to the butter mixture. Mix that well. It'll be like a kind of a rough dough. There's not a ton of moisture in here, so it'll seem a little bit on the dry side, but that is fine because your cherries will help that out. So you kind of want it to be on the dry side too. If it's too wet, the cookies will spread. So you want it to be sort of like the shortbread, where when you make shortbread, you have to press it together a little bit. Once you have that mixed together, the two different bowls mixed together, you want to add your chopped cherries and mix that really well. You don't want a ton of liquid in there, but if there is some in the cherries, that's fine. And just keep mixing and stirring and pressing as that comes together. You want to have the chopped cherries dispersed really well throughout the dough. If you have a small cookie scoop that will make like a 1-inch ball, it's the perfect thing for this. You want to make 1-inch balls of your dough and roll them up nice and tight. And I just roll them as I go and set them on a dinner plate. You don't want them to be too big. 1 inch is just about perfect. So don't overdo, on these. You want them to be a nice 1-inch size ball.
Unless you get the giant Hershey Kisses. In that case, you might need more dough.
You might need the 6-inch ball for that. And roll them nice and tight. Put them on your plate. Now, arrange them on the parchment paper. You should be able to fit like about a dozen. I think the one tray I had 15 on, but about a dozen to a tray. You don't want them real close together, and they're not going to spread out, but it just makes it easier if they're not too close together. And bake one tray at a time. You want to bake them for 9 to 10 minutes at 350 degrees. You don't want them to get brown, so if your oven tends to be on the hot side, take it down towards 9 or even 8 minutes. And keep an eye on them. So then when they have baked for 9 to 10 minutes, you'll watch them in the oven. They'll look kind of wet because the butter's melting, and then they'll dry out. So when they are looking like they're drying out around 9 to 10 minutes, you can take that tray out of the oven, and you want to immediately lightly press Hershey Kisses into each cookie. Don't press them too hard. Just lightly press them in there. Very rarely will they actually crack on the outside edges, but I'm telling you, these things look so cute. Press your Hershey Kiss in there and then let the cookie sit on the tray for about 5 minutes before you remove them to a cooling rack, because you want the cookie to set up. The Hershey Kiss is going to melt pretty quick, so you have to be careful there because they get soft and they stay soft for hours. So you want to just very carefully move them from the tray to a cooling rack and let them cool. I probably let them sit for about, I think I had them for about 2 hours on my cooling racks before I put them into a container, and the Hershey Kiss was still soft. So you have to watch that. Although I have to say, when the cookie is warm and the Hershey Kiss is soft, holy cow, they're phenomenal. Try not to eat too many. These are a little bit dangerous, I'm telling you.
So if you can make it past the temptation of just unwrapping the Hershey Kisses, your next hurdle is not devouring all the cookies while they're still warm.
Yes. And, it takes the kisses so long to harden up. So you either have to be patient or be very careful,
And be very vigilant if there are other people in your household who also like chocolate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, you can't just leave the house because... Speaking as someone who has eaten a lot of cookies off of cooling racks when I wasn't supposed to, they will get eaten.
And this recipe is nice because it can be halved very easily. So you'll get about 2 dozen out of it if you have it. You should get 4 dozen. I've gotten like as many as 54 cookies out of this. And it's pretty easy. It's a pretty easy cookie to make. It's just a pretty cookie for Valentine's Day. So if you want to do a homemade gift or do something special for your Valentine, this is a good thing to do. Maraschino cherries, I don't know. I had them in my refrigerator leftover from having ice cream sundaes. So, they were just in there. Just a side note, one of my kids called maraschino cherries cherishino cherries when they were little, which is still funny. So enjoy this recipe. I hope you make it, and I hope everyone loves it, or that you eat them all and nobody else gets any. That's my hope for you. Happy Valentine's Day.
And make sure to check us out online on Facebook and Threads at Mary Mac Bakehouse, on Instagram at Mary Mac Bakehouse and Mary Mac Podcast, and on our website, marymacpodcast.com.
Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you.